Broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Alongside former Packer Bryan Bulaga. Here's Emmy Award winner Homer.
Minutes of your day, the Bryan Bulaga Homer Hour. I am at where Bryan Bulaga probably wishes he was, playing golf at Hawksview Golf Club in Lake Geneva because it's the Bo Ellis golf event where they raise money for the Nicole Ellis Foundation, and because I love talking about championships. It was 1977. So it's getting close to 50 years. It doesn't matter. All you need is one, and you can talk about it forever. And I would assume that, Bryan, you would agree with that. You're in the club.
Yep. It's all that matters.
Everybody'd like to win more than one.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But the difference between 0 and 1 would be all the people that I will see later who were around in 77, who have been Brewer fans their entire life. They got 0. 0 is huge.
Zero.
The Cubs fans always were talked about as having the worst. They won. Boston, the Red Sox, for so many years, they won. They're not. The Brewers are it. Mm-hmm. Bucks had one. It took 50 years for another one, but still. That was only for the younger people who weren't alive when they won the one. You probably need to win one about every 50 years, every 40 years. Otherwise, a group of people live and die and never get a chance to experience one. Every 40 years.
Got one. Even my White Sox.
Yes. Oh, yes. And I would emphasize this. I would much rather be a White Sox fan than a Brewers fan. They got it. They're in the club. They have been horrific. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I used to say I could take one every 10 years, but I could easily take one. I could take one every 30 years. I just got to have one.
Yeah.
2005, I was there.
Yep.
No one to this day knows how the hell they did it. How did they do it?
I don't know, man. It was a sweet run to watch. It really was. I enjoyed the heck out of it, and my dad went to a bunch of those games too. I was still younger, but he went to a lot of those games, and because he got tickets to them, and he went and watched, and they were fun games to watch on TV. And Scott Pasednik and all. It was, just a fun.
Well, the closer he just passed away this last week. I think I've forgotten the guy's name. The closer,
Bobby Jenks.
Bobby Jenks.
Bobby Jenks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe, if I'm right, Ken Williams might have been the GM of the team at that time. I don't know. I did his first baseball interview ever. He was a football and baseball player at Stanford, and he was the first-round pick of the White Sox, whose team was in Appleton. It's not. I guess it's A-League, and so they just signed him. Like it was probably a few days after, right around now, because just like when the current baseball draft, and phenomenal athlete, and then I think he was GM. But anyway, it's over. Your dad's in.
Yeah,
he's got it.
Yep, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Listen, and he grew up obviously on the south side of Chicago, so that's all he knew was White Sox baseball. That's all he knew.
And all I knew about White Sox fans is they were the fightingest baseball fans I've ever seen. When the Brewers were in the American League, they'd play the White Sox, and there would just be fist fights in the stands. They talk about Cubs fans, but White Sox fans, I would tell everybody, you get in a fight with anybody you want in baseball except a White Sox fan.
Yep.
But anyway, no, and I think of, the Packers, we debate if they should have won more often, and maybe, but you're in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the, and we always, and you and I always talk about this too, and it's funny because I still have, I got friends that I played with and guys that even I played with, on the Packers team that were great players that never got one, never even got to one.
Yep.
Right. And it's like, it's just such a shame. Right. Like, and the fact that I'm able to say that I have one, it's just,
and the
wild.
feeling that I know you had. I mean, I saw it, not that one. It was the one I saw 96 in the locker room. And maybe it was because they were expected to be so good. They weren't screaming and yelling like a high school team or a college team. There was just such you could feel it that we're the best in the world. And
yep.
I'm in the club forever. Somebody like Don Beebe who lost 4 with Buffalo. And that's great. It's incredible you go to Super Bowl 4 years in a row. But the White Sox fans got it better than the Buffalo Bills fans.
Yeah. And,
right?
and yeah, I mean, and I think why ours in 2010, it felt a different because we were a 6 seed. Weren't supposed to be there. Like, it wasn't supposed to happen. Right. And I think that's what made it gave it a little more oomph to it. It gave it a little more juice. And that made guys in the locker room so much more, like you said, screaming like high schoolers and like cheering.
Yeah.
Like it gave it a little more like of a high school feel to it after the victory. And like that's all part of the feeling. And being in the club, like you can go around you're not in the 6 club like Brady or guys like that, but you got one of them.
No, I would say this to Brady. The difference between 0 and 1 is a million times bigger than the difference between 1 and 6.
Oh,
maybe it changes if you get 6 and you just have so many. But I think of the Packers won 5 in 7 years. And so that's incredible. But 0. All right, what's the difference between 2 and 3? It's a greatness of the team and your legacy and all that stuff. But there's nothing like it's 0. I mean, imagine when Buffalo wins. Everybody's going to win at some point, I think. It's just a question of whether or not you're still alive. But that's every time every aside from a team I root for, everything I want to see happen is a first time winner because that's just for the fans. Yep. Be it the Brewers, and it depends on what you're a fan of. If you're a fan of the Packers, you want, but nothing's going to equal. The only thing I want to see before I die is the Brewers to win a World Series. Because otherwise, I get an offer.
Yeah,
it's the worst offer in the world. Follow a team for how many years and never won a title.
Do you think, and obviously because I only won one, I wouldn't know this, but do you think all those guys that won multiple, so like you asked the Jordans and you asked the Bradys and them, do you think they would always say the hardest one was the first one? That's always the hardest one, is the first. And the rest of them, because you have that recipe, you can continue on. Or do they say the hardest one's the second one, and then after the second one, it's smooth sailing? Like I don't know, because I never got the second one. I thought the second one, in 2011 was going to be nice and smooth sailing, but it didn't end up being that way, right? Like and then I thought in 2014, okay, I'm like, all right, we had to wait a few years, but here we go, we're going to get it in 2014, and well, that didn't happen, and then 2016 we got hot, and I go, okay, here we go, 2016, we had to wait. We had to wait 6 years, but all right, we're going to do it again. And nope. So, like, I just don't know what those guys would say. What's the hardest one, the first or the second, or what it would be?
And I would say, I don't know that, but like the one, if I were you, that'd be the toughest with 2011, because you have basically the same team. I think when the same people are around and you're so good, then you think, with this group, eventually that's the part with the Patriots. It's so incredible that they did it with so many different groups. I mean, they won, I think, 3 and 4 years when they had all those. So that was that group that was so good. But imagine, Brian, if you had none. imagine if you don't win in 10 and you deal with all those years that you talked about, you probably would have said, I might as well have played for Buffalo.
Yeah.
You know, the hardest clearly has to be so close and not do it. But if you got zero, you got zero.
Yeah, I mean, that's the truth. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I guess the thing would be to get the first. That's got to be the hardest, is to get the first.
Yeah.
That's got to be the hardest, because without getting one, you got none. And that's
right.
That's
and I don't care. Like, and I mean, there's a you know this from the people you played with, that there's a level of excellence that's different for each player. I can tell you, the toughest. I never had anything I did twice, but the toughest would have been for me the second one, because I'm done. I don't care. I'm in. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I become a billionaire. Is the second billion going to be as good as the first? No. I mean,
yeah.
whatever team you root for, and then you can get disappointed. But I feel badly for Brewer fans.
Yeah.
And I don't college. I mean, I think, again, we're talking because I'm at the Borealis golf tournament and they won in 77. But like Wisconsin, there'll never be. I mean, I was there doing the game when Wisconsin lost to Indiana in triple overtime at home the year Indiana won the national title with Steve Alford. And I always thought that was terrible. No, I'll never forget the moment in the second half when I turned to somebody when Wisconsin was playing Duke and going, they're going to win this game. I didn't say they could win it. And it's the worst feeling in the world, because unless you're 100, they got 0 too. It was 41, I think. And I mean, you think of how great the different Iowa teams were. Yep. Coaches you had in basketball, Lute Olson and stuff. It's still 0.
Oh, yeah. And it's going to be that way for a while. It's going to be that way for a while.
I don't, but then you think of Oklahoma or whatever, and you just need one. That's it, just one. But and those they never. I mean, a Rose Bowl win's nice. There are things that there's a special feeling. And that was certainly the case at Wisconsin, and I'm sure. Well, no, Iowa was top ranked in the country at times under Hayden Fry. I know that, right? I mean, they were.
Yep.
Then if you could just find the easiest bowl game when you were number one, then win the national title that way, the way Notre Dame did with Lou Holtz. Let's find West Virginia. Let's play them, because we're in. Then we win it. But you know, I don't know how you can explain to people. Just there's nothing. I don't know. But the feeling probably gets better year after year, unless just to see other people that aren't in the club, and players that are really good. And I understand better now. You can agree or comment on it. Like, as a player, especially on a team sport, so much of it is beyond your control. You can be so good and never win because your teammates weren't good enough or the coaches weren't good enough. It's just, I don't want to say it's luck, but that to me would be, I mean, I think you could think of Barkley or different players in different sports, or Barry Sanders, someone who you're just wowed at how good they are. Doesn't matter. You got to have a GM or a coach or players.
You almost see it right now in the AFC with like Buffalo and with Baltimore.
Yes.
Like, you see it right now, right? Like, it's happening in real life, in real time with
Baltimore. But they're in the club. They got one.
No, I know, but Lamar doesn't. Lamar doesn't have one. No. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's what he's the current
for the
quarterback
players.
like that.
Yeah,
for the player. Or Josh Allen. He's and they're boss Buffalo.
Right.
But like, that's a perfect example is Buffalo right now with Josh Allen. Like, how, like, that team plays so good, and then something just happens when they see Kansas City in the playoffs, and it just goes away, and like they just can't find a way to do it, and Kansas City moves on, and it's just like you feel bad, like you really do, like, and it doesn't matter how good Allen plays, Kansas City doesn't, and
right.
I do feel bad. I do feel
And then,
bad for her.
this isn't football, and I wasn't watching. I just saw the highlight. They had some of the women's golf majors, and on the last hole, the girl hits the ball in the water. Hit one of the worst shots ever, and her next shot, she chips in to stay. Can you imagine her opponent, who had never won a major either? Like, come on.
That's a
okay,
good
hit
punch.
it 2 inches away. She makes birdie hitting the ball. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. Hitting the ball in the water and still made birdie.
It was a par 5. So she dunked it in the water.
She dunked it in the water on her second shot. The 3 penalty. She's hitting 4 from you can look it up and watch it. It's from just an impossible, behind some bridge or something and something like that. And chips it in for 4. The other girl makes 4, and so no, there's no way you're making 4. You're making 5 or 6. This one is over. I'm holding the trophy.
Yep. The minute that ball splashes, you're going,
Yes.
this is done. This is done.
It's done. And she still stays in Ophir, and the girl who chipped in did it. All right, we'll take a break. All right. And I think I think the Brewers are a good enough team where they have a chance if their pitchers continue to pitch at this high level. So it's not easy. There's no way they can be as good as the Dodgers, given the talent. But in a shorter series with pitching that's really good, you can pull it off. And that's why I brought it up, because I could say to you, if the White Sox can do it, the Brewers can do it one year.
Yep.
Next. More of the Homer Hour coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Still have this problem on East and westbound 94 in Waukesha County. Eastbound is closed. You'll be diverted off at Highway 83. Westbound is closed at Highway SS. You'll need to head to the southern frontage road and take that across to try and get back onto the freeway. It is pretty heavy through that area, though, so be extra careful. Southbound 41 also slowing down from Appleton Avenue down to Capitol. Northbound slow from before Mayfair Road all the way up to Hampton. Westbound 94 closer into the Marquette. We're seeing delays from 16th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound has got some backups from 76th Street to Holly Road, and then again from about Mitchell Boulevard to 35th. Tee off at Lake Lawn Resort's Majestic Oaks Golf Course. 18 holes lakeside in Delavan. Whether you're a pro or just starting, it's the perfect course. Book your tee time today at lakelawnresort.com. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, mainly clear, low of 68. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 87. Weather is brought to you by Avondale Roofing. Raise the roof and your standards with Avondale Roofing, your trusted partner for over 30 years. Remember, they get on top so you don't have to. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Crew Tuesdays are back on July 29th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Chicago Cubs.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness. Third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Delta Dental of Wisconsin. Tune in July 29th at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check out your local listings to watch the game.
Drive a clean car every day. Tsunami Express Car Wash makes driving in style simple with unlimited washes for less than $1 a day. Become a member and enjoy premium fast lane access, free vacuums, and powerful tire air, all included in your membership. With locations in Midtown Milwaukee, Waukesha, Greenfield, Oak Creek, New Berlin, and Mount Pleasant, it's easier than ever to get a winning wash with Milwaukee's favorite car wash team. Sign up and score big at TsunamiExpress.com. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat.
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. When Tri-City National Bank decided to optimize their print output strategy, they needed a resource with the expertise to recommend a solution. CIO Robert Bryan.
And James helped us with that analysis of what our print consumption was and what we were doing.
The outcome of the James Imaging Systems Managed Print Services recommendation?
We ended up reducing down to about 97 total printers and copiers from 197.
The impact on your print output?
We eliminated over 500,000 pages a month of output that we figured out we really didn't need.
Month month after month, that adds up to savings and value.
Oh, tons of value. Those numbers add up, even when it's only a penny or so per page.
Managed print services from James Imaging Systems, AI-driven workflow automation, security enhancements, and digital transformation. To learn more, visit jamesimaging.com.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road, or visit PellaWI.com today.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
This is the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The Bryan Bulaga Homer Hour. I am at the Bo Ellis Golf event for the Nicole Ellis Foundation, and I'm here because people are here that remember 1977, the national championship. And I'm sure they'll have some sort of 50th anniversary coming up in 2027. This is the Bryan Bulaga Homer Hour, and now, as he does, not as well as he blocked, but pretty close, his partner assistants.
That's right. I want to talk about my friends at Surfside. Summer is heating up, and there's nothing more refreshing than an ice-cold Surfside iced tea and vodka or Surfside lemonade and vodka to break the heat. I like Surfside more than all those other drinks because it tastes cleaner and doesn't leave your mouth feeling like you got a sugary, nasty taste in your mouth after you get done drinking it. They also got great flavors, like my favorite, the half tea, half lemonade, peach tea, raspberry lemonade, and so many more. Made with real brewed tea and real vodka, Surfside is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles. That's right, no carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy no matter what your plans are this weekend. Look for the can with the sunset stripes, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
I had a friend who has given me other Packer tickets in the past to buy during the season, and I've used them for various reasons. He offered me 4 tickets. Pebble, maybe you can look it up. I think it's in August. Is it against Seattle, I think? I don't even know what their home preseason games are. But he said something like the tickets were $78 or something. He said, make me an offer. And I thought, I wouldn't pay $1. If you gave them to me free, I'm not going to the game because I don't even think preseason games, again, I will defer to you, I don't think they're even what they used to be in terms of how players are used. Go back to your first year and what preseason football games were like. I'm curious.
Oh, preseason when I was a rookie, man, it was intense. It was guys were playing. Like it was I remember I went out there, at least for me as a rookie, I went out there and I played about 3 quarters every game as a rookie. Mm-hmm. I did. Starters, it started out, starters would go out there for a quarter in the first game, 2 quarters in the second game.
Right.
Essentially then like a quarter or a half and some change in the third game. And then obviously it would be up to McCarthy what he would do in the fourth game. Normally nothing in the fourth game. And then, that would be that. But as a rookie for me, I did every single game and I played a bunch in every single game. And it was a
what
grind.
Was the coach's approach? Was it like we want to win the game or you don't know until then you get in the regular season and you see the prep? Or how close was it for any or all of those games to a regular season game?
It wasn't nearly as close as it was for a regular season game, just because of the time constraints and how many guys there were. they would go over basic plays that we were going to be doing, and they'd go over the structure of the defenses and things like that. But the prep time just wasn't there because they wanted to get their training camp prep in. You know, we would probably say we were playing, we'll just say Seattle, for example. We would probably spend maybe a day and a half, 2 days on Seattle before we would play them, and then would go play. Where obviously regular season, it's a full week. So it was way less, extensive with how we game planned. But for the guys that were playing, fighting for jobs, I mean, that's all it was. Like, I mean, you were all in on those couple days of prep to get ready to go play. And obviously as a rookie, I took it very, very, very seriously. Like, I was all in, and I was nervous as all hell going out there every series. It was my first NFL snaps. Even though it wasn't regular season, to me it was still NFL snaps, right? You're going out there, you're going against NFL players. I got to play some snaps with the starters, so I got to block for Aaron, that preseason. So I was very nervous for that, obviously. So yeah, it was, to me, that rookie year of what preseason was a lot different than even to what year 2 was, because year 2.
So what was year 2 like for you?
Well, for me, it was a little bit of the same. I didn't play as much, so like it was the next year. Obviously, if we remember, it was the lockout year, so we kind of just got right into training camp. It was different. We got locked out, and then we just reported to training camp, and everything was kind of scaled back a little bit. We still had the preseason games, but the coaches knew we weren't technically in football shape, so they scaled our reps back quite a bit in preseason, at least the starters from that standpoint. But the starters still took, we still played a quarter here and then a half, but like not as much in the third game as what we normally. We maybe only played, a quarter and some change in the third game, not as much as we got a lot of work in the second game compared to the third game as what it would normally be switched. Right. And then after that, it started to taper down. Like, it started to go to like maybe a series or two, and then it went up to like a quarter, and then maybe just a quarter in the third game as well. And then
all right. Nothing. So what was it like your last couple of years?
My last year with LaFleur, I played a quarter and a half against Baltimore, and that was it for the entire preseason. And that was it. And then with LA, I didn't play a single snap in preseason. Even with McCarthy, I barely played any. I mean, I might have played like a series or two the whole preseason. Like, there was no preseason. Like,
I guess I would have to check, but I'd ask you, is it possible that it's even softer now? I don't know how much less you can play than none. But that doesn't change whatever the head coach or the philosophy is or how you're using practice time. What do you think it is? Can you even tell now or not really?
No, I think now, because of what has changed, which wasn't a big deal or it wasn't a thing with the Packers when Mike was there, was the joint practices. LaFleur utilizes the joint practices. We didn't do any joint practices when McCarthy was there. Ted didn't believe in them. Ted hated the joint practices, never wanted to do them. Mike really wasn't.
Did he ever say why?
Well, Ted didn't like contact at practice to begin with. Oh. If Ted could have put us just in helmets and had us run around out there, Ted would have preferred that. I mean, Ted
because of injuries, do you think? I mean, he played in the league, so he clearly knows NFL football just to stay healthy.
Yeah, Ted didn't want guys getting hurt before we had to go out there and actually probably get hurt. Like, that was going to be what was going to happen. He knew it was going to happen. He knew it was going to happen.
I don't know that I ever asked that or knew that. We'll ask that with Jason on Thursday when he's on, but I never knew that. But again, he deferred somewhat to his coach, but I'm sure they had to be aware of what his thought was.
Oh yeah, but Mike still ran the practice the way Mike ran the practice. Ted didn't stop Mike ran a physical practice. The practices were extremely physical. Like, they were not. Oh, okay. Mike ran a hard training camp. It was very difficult, but I'm just talking from
and LaFleur not as much.
LaFleur's training camp's a lot different. It's very high tempo, high fast. It's very in and out, in and out, in and out. Where Mike's were long periods, very physical and grinder out type practices, where LaFleur's is very fast and it's very high tempo, high speed. They're just different philosophies of what you're looking to do. Where LaFleur obviously is a big believer in the joint sessions, and Mike and Ted were not believers in that. So when you're not when you don't do those types of things, that's why we did a lot of preseason with Mike. We played in the preseason. That was something we did, and you never knew how many snaps you were going to get. Were you going to get a quarter? Were you going to get 2 series? Were you going to get 2 quarters? I mean, you just didn't know going into a game. There were guys who knew, right? The veteran guys knew what they were going to get because the coaches told them. But, like, younger guys, we had no idea. We just had to be ready to go.
So we've discussed this before, and I think we'd agree and came to the agreement that the way it exists, fans would be better off to see those team workout or the 2 team workouts rather than the game.
I would. If you can get into the Packers, Ray Nitschke and see the joint session, I would do that. I would watch that. I mean, I'm not saying don't go to the preseason game because, listen, like going into Lambeau and being there for the experience, it is. It's a special experience.
But from a football standpoint, you get more in the joint session.
Yes, 100%. Because you're seeing good on good. You're seeing the ones versus the ones the entire time.
Yes.
And that's just. And listen, I'm not trying to be mean. But you're not
seeing good on goods because either you're not playing your goods or your opponent might. You might not see good from either team for a lot of the game. You're seeing.
Correct.
That's what I think. You're seeing second teamers and sometime even third teamers.
Correct. Yes, you're seeing guys that will definitely not be there. Like that's what you see in preseason. And when you're in the joint session, you're seeing 1 versus 1s. That's what you're going to see from both teams, 1 versus 1s the entire
however
session.
Short that is, it's still longer than anything you would see in a game.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get an hour and probably 10 minutes of practice of that type of, environment. And you're going to get different types of periods. You're going to get 2-minute. You're going to get short yardage. You're going to get move the ball. You're going to get probably one-on-one drill. You're going to get a lot of different scenarios that you can watch, and it's entertaining and it's good stuff. And then obviously unfortunately, this the way there's always fights. It's always
especially the second day.
Oh yeah. You should never have day 2. There should never be a day 2. There should never be a day 2. But whenever there's a day 2, there's always fights. It always goes that way. But
so do some guys get in fights in hopes that it limits the workout, or is it just they're just irritated? Get in a fight. That'll shorten things up.
I think that's probably happened more than once. I think that's happened. Guys say, "Hey, let's just do this. We know that'll break this thing up." But the joint session we did with LaFleur with Houston, I just know the second day it got a little chippy. We'll just put it that way. It got a little chippy towards the end of day 2. And you just knew it was going to go there.
Why more chippy than even a game, right? Even more chippy than a game.
Yeah, because, you go and watch the film the next day and your coach is yelling at you for getting embarrassed by that guy and you get ripped. And then you go back out there and you're not going to let that happen again. And that's just
okay.
But,
and there's no score as much to be the factor as there is in a regular game. It's all just watching the individual battles.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. What do I want? I want a day 3 joint session.
Oh, God.
They'll just walk out and start slugging. Bryan Bulaga, Homer Hour. And we're going to get to the top 10 rankings of NFL quarterbacks as this one. I mean, there are various ones. This one, Pebbles from ESPN, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, and now I am going to be curious to see how Bryan Bulaga does it. Next.
The Homer Hour is back after this on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
94 is still closed in both directions right now. Eastbound 94, you'll be diverted off at Highway 83. Westbound, you'll be diverted off at Highway SS. If you head to the southern frontage road, which is, I believe, Hillside Drive, you should be able to get past this. But unfortunately, it's really backed up in both directions through that area. A little closer into the Marquette, though, we're seeing some delays. Eastbound 94 from about 76th Street through the stadium. Westbound's backing up from 16th Street all the way to Hawley Road. Southbound 41, kind of a hefty ride there from Appleton Avenue all the way down to about Capitol Drive. And we've also got the northbound side backing up from Mayfair Road all the way up to Hampton. Traffic is brought to you by Bud Pavilion's free concert series, Wednesday Night Live. Live music with Bella Kane starts this Wednesday at 7. Wednesday Night Live at the Bud Pavilion at State Fair Park. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight mainly clear, a low of 68. Tomorrow mostly sunny, a high of 87. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
The Big Slide, barns and barns of animals, and all that food on a stick. State Fair is one of the biggest events of the summer, and we'd like to send you there. Compliments of Discount Liquor. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. Purchase any one case 30-pack cans of Miller High Life or any one 12-pack Leinenkugel craft beer and receive one free State Fair ticket, all while supplies last. But don't delay. Tickets go quickly. And I know you don't want to miss the bacon-wrapped bacon. Visit us today at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee and on Barstow and Main in downtown Waukesha. Discount Liquor, voted best liquor store in Milwaukee again. See us this week for your free Wisconsin State Fair ticket.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
And visit us online at discountliquorinc.com.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Harry Douglas.
Kirk Cousins in his last 5 games that he played of the 2024 season had 1 touchdown pass to 9 interceptions. See, Freddie, my father told me, never worry about the next man, even if they do draft someone at your position. But growing up, why are you worried about person B if you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing as person A?
Absolutely.
That's one of my issues. Okay, where your feelings hurt a little bit, it's okay, Kurt. But one of the things my receiver coach taught me when I got drafted, son, this league has no room for your feelings. No one cares. This is a business. So just because they drafted Michael Penix Jr., you could have kept Michael Penix Jr. on the bench if your play would have done so. But it did not.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
You're listening to the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The Bryan Bulaga Homer Hour. I don't know where he is, and I don't really care. But I know he's on the show. I am at the Bo Ellis Golf Tournament in Lake Geneva as they raise money for the Nicole Ellis Foundation, and they like to, and I like to, talk about the championship of 1977. Doesn't matter how many years away it is, as long as you were alive and old enough to remember it. I don't think a championship counts. I don't know what age you remember. Bryan Bulaga, the Bryan Bulaga Homer Show. What's the earliest age you remember a sporting event, so that if your team, Iowa or the Bears or whoever you rooted for, won a championship, you remembered it?
what would be the Bulls when Jordan was with the Bulls?
Okay.
I mean, I
How old
remember
were
all
you?
the. So I was born in '89, so I don't really remember the first three as clear. Obviously, I was born in '89, so the first three weren't as vivid to me. But the second three were very clear to me for Jordan and the Bulls. So
Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, Rodman and Harper and Pippen and Kukoc and Longley and all those guys. Like that team was that's engraved in my brain. The team is engraved in my brain. And what's funny about this, we know what's a great story, but I mean, this is great. You'll love this. Member guest every year at Concession, the club I belong to. There's a member here every year. Tony Kukoc is his guest, so I get to hang out. I get to talk with Kukoc every year when he comes down here. It's amazing. Yeah, I love it. It's fantastic.
So you're nice. You know what my first question would have been?
What?
Like, did Jordan really hate you? Or what's really? And then they did this when they went back, what is it, Last Dance, where they talked about when they played against him in the Olympics. And that Jordan and Pippen guarded Kukoc so he could never score a point. Or I don't know if maybe he didn't score a point when they played Croatia. But you wouldn't be so mean as to make that your first question.
No,
he seems like a nice guy. Plus, he was a very good player.
Yeah, no, it didn't. And it doesn't. He didn't seem to have any ill will towards Jordan. I mean, it seemed like they talked quite a bit. So it didn't seem like they have any issue. But he does say that he does in a joking manner, or maybe he's not joking. He does say he's the reason why the team was so good. But I don't know if he's joking.
No, I've heard that too. I would say that he's probably more honest, and I don't know if he's responding to Scottie Pippen, because there is truth to Jordan didn't win anything till Pippen came, but we know this. Pippen ain't winning anything without Jordan. So, but and that's why I think Jerry Krause is the genius in the whole thing in terms of it took a while and he put a group together and then Jordan leaves for 2 years and he has to put an entirely different group together and he does it again. That certainly speaks of the greatness of Jordan, but it also speaks to to find another mixture. There was no Dennis Rodman in the first group.
No, none. And to think that Dennis Rodman was going to work in that group is a whole gamble on its own. Think about that.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yes, there's no way you can know that. But I think that is there's one thing about we said winning, being in the club. There is another benefit of being around a legacy, like a team that's so good. I mean, I was a Packer fan. I remember not all of the titles, but most of them. And, to win 5 and 7 years and 4 and 6 years, it's just hard to believe you're that good. And then it's just a question of how greedy are you as a fan? I want another one. I want another one. But that's something different where you feel like, I've said this, where you feel like you were lucky to have been around. I feel lucky to have been around to see Michael Jordan, lucky to have been around to see Tiger Woods or various different people. And you can imagine others have the same way with if you were around in the 50s and saw Mickey Mantle or whatever the sport would be, where someone's like that, that's special too. But you may not be the same, but there ain't nothing like being in the club.
Nope. There's nothing like it. Nothing like it.
And all right, so now we get to the top 10. Pebble, you have the list. There have been a number of ones.
Correct. This
one
is ESPN's list, though.
ESPN.
Yep. Their executive coaches and scouts ranking the NFL's top 10 quarterbacks for the upcoming season. They've been coming out with these different lists for running back, offensive lineman, etc. But the people have been really waiting for this one, for the list of the top 10 quarterbacks entering the 2025 season. If we go through the list here, starting at number 1, we've got Patrick Mahomes at number 1. Number 2 is Josh Allen.
Okay, let's do number 1 without even listing that. I don't think Mahomes is number 1 anymore. Jackson's number 1 to me. You have to factor in the teammates and all the kind of stuff, and he certainly had better running backs. But I think he's the best quarterback in the game. But
Okay.
You don't.
So
that doesn't determine whether you win. And I can't. It's hard to argue with Mahomes because he's won so much. But last year he just wasn't as good.
Yeah. So
But
are we
go ahead.
talking? You're making a perfect point. Are we talking? So are we talking the best, like the team, or are we talking the best quarterback? Because
I think I'll defer to Pebble. You can let us know. No, I think to me, I always do it as the best player, playing the position, the best quarterback.
Correct.
I don't
yes.
know how else you can do it because otherwise the guy's getting credit for his teammates. He didn't do anything for that. The best example is Burrow. Burrow is just so unfortunate. I don't know the last time a quarterback that good had a defense that bad.
So I was just about to say, why wouldn't Burrow be considered number one?
He could be. Yes, I would agree. You could put him number one.
Yeah. Look how he played. And you said Jackson. Jackson's unbelievable. You could say Allen is number one. How good Allen. I'm not slighting Mahomes. I think Mahomes is obviously amazing. But, was he the number one quarterback? I don't think so. I don't think so. But
and not last year. We saw in the playoffs what happened when his team wasn't really good. Yep. I don't know, but there's a limit to what any quarterback can do. Yeah, no, that's how I look at it. I try to figure out, all right, this is what I would say. Would Kansas City have been better last year with some quarterbacks other than Patrick Mahomes? And I would say yes. You could easily say Burrow. You could easily say, and I don't. The other issue is you can just say, well, he had a bad year last year. I still think he's number one. It just, it's like, I don't know if is the question who's the best quarterback now? Isn't that what it is, Pebble?
Yes, the question is who's the best quarterback now. It goes through different, let me see here how many in terms of ballots here. They had 70 total ballots. Right. And the ranking voters gave us their 10 best players at a position. Then we compile the results and rank candidates based on the number of top 10 votes. Composite average and dozens of interviews with research and film study held from ESPN's Matt Bowen.
Because I think you could say, if I wanted to, Mahomes had a bad year last year. I still think he's the best. Which, that's a decent answer. That's why I don't know that that I would ever get that upset. Because it's hard if you're judging it on the talent. I'm being forced to guess how good a player would be on a different team. How good would Kansas City have been last year with Burrow, or just who seemed to play the position better? For example, to me, Philadelphia, they changed the team.
Yes. 100%.
And you have the same quarterback, and then was just average the year before, and this year he's significantly better than average. Oh wait, maybe that's because of a new player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's tough to answer that question. Who pick Philadelphia. A quarterback that you believe would have been even better instead of if they had a different quarterback instead of Hurts. And then to me, that's the question: would the team have been better with Jackson? I think so.
Yes.
And would it have been better with Burrow? Jackson to me is easy because I think he does just about everything better. Burrow's not going to run as well, but all right, we'll get to the fourth quarter and then a special half hour with Jim Boylan, who was part of that NCAA championship team. But more than that, with the discussion about Giannis, he was a Bucks interim coach. He was at Cleveland with LeBron James. I don't know that there's anybody who's had more experience dealing with superstars of various teams. So that'll be from 6 until 6:30. The fourth quarter with Bryan Bulaga next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
People need people, whether in Junior Achievements BizTown, where students work together to run a city, or in the real world, where blood donors can help save lives. Join Junior Achievement of Wisconsin and Versity for a mobile blood drive on Tuesday, July 15th from 2 to 6:30 p.m. at JA's headquarters near Highway 100 and Good Hope Road. While you're there, tour Jim's JA BizTown, where students take on real-world roles like CEO, banker, and mayor, learning how communities thrive through teamwork and leadership. Sign up today at wisconsin.ja.org.
Hey ESPN Milwaukee fans, Bryan Bulaga here for Surfside. Summer is heating up, and there's nothing more refreshing than an ice-cold Surfside iced tea and vodka or Surfside lemonade and vodka to break the heat. Made with real brewed tea and real vodka, Surfside is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles. That's right, no carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy no matter what your plans are this weekend. Look for the can with the sunset stripes, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Hey, Jen Latta here, and as a client of the We Sell Group, I can tell you firsthand, Rob and Nick make the home buying and selling process easier. Right now, school's out, and that means it's the perfect time to list your home. The market is challenging and inventory is tight, but you don't have to face it alone. Rob and Nick are pros. They take the stress off your plate so you can focus on your family, your summer, and just breathe. Contact Rob and Nick to see what your home might be worth in this market. Connect today at wesell.kw.com. That's wesell.kw.com.
Ready to escape to a resort that has it all? The Island Resort and Casino is your total thrill getaway, where championship golf, a luxury spa, world-class gaming, and epic entertainment come together. Tee it up at Sweetgrass and Sage Run. Unwind at the Drift Spa. Dine, play, win, repeat. Go all in on an unforgettable getaway. Book your total experience today at islandresortandcasino.com.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Kyle Wallace. Choose from payments as low as $99 a month or 12 months with no payments and no interest, plus a free in-home window and energy assessment. Restrictions apply. Call 414-410-2000.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Get ready for Germanfest, carnival style. Sink your teeth into Spanferkel, cheer on the tiny racers at the Dachshund Derby, and dance the night away with Vox Club, Juhe aus Tirol, and top bands from around the country. Don't miss the colorful parade, and on Saturday night, wear your best costume for the Masquerade Ball at the Miller Stage. Eat, drink, schunkel, and make it your tradition at Germanfest. For more information and online tickets, visit germanfest.com.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Avondale Roofing is knocking on your door. Leaking roof? Man, that's a shame. Call the real pros. We running this game. We patch it, thatch it, no need to stress. Our crew shows up and cleans up the mess. No drips, no drafts, no drama at all. Just tight new shingles that are leak-proof all. Hey.
It's nothing but Avondale, baby. They keep it dry when the weather gets crazy. Hey.
Visit AvondaleRoofing.com. That is AvondaleRoofing.com.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Bruss talking about our friends at Road America, America's National Park of Speed. Get out of your house this summer and go to Road America, located conveniently between Green Bay and Milwaukee and Elkhart Lake. Come see a race at the legendary 4-mile, 14-turn road circuit that has hosted some of the best races since 1955. WeatherTech Vintage Weekend is up next July 17th through the 20th. Camp on site all weekend and enjoy free admission for kids 16 and under with a paying adult at the gate. Come for the experience and stay for the race. Get your tickets at roadamerica.com.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The Bryan Bulaga Homer Hour, discussing ESPN and picking the top quarterbacks. And of course, standard of this show, everything is important only as it relates to the Green Bay Packers. Who cares who was picked 1, 2, 3? All that matters is, where is Jordan Love and where should he be? Pebble, where's Jordan Love?
Jordan Love is ranked 12th in this list. He's in the honorable mention category, one spot behind C.J. Stroud, who was selected 11th.
So there are actual positions after 10, right? It's not.
So they have honorable mention, which is C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love, and then they have also receiving votes category, which is Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Tua, and Bo Nix.
Purdy did not make the top 12, huh?
Wow. Who's in the top 10? Can you, after Mahomes, who's the top 10?
Yeah, give us
so after Mahomes, the top 10 is Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels is 5, Matthew Stafford 6, Justin Herbert 7, Jared Goff 8, Jalen Hurts 9, and 10th is Baker Mayfield.
Wow. Baker at 10.
He's been good the last, couple of years? Or
Yeah. Yeah.
And again... Go ahead.
Think about that. The Browns rejected him. Look how that turned out for them.
Yeah, they've made a number of mistakes.
Yeah.
And all right, so Jordan Love at 12, and your first thought when you heard that was?
I'm not shocked by it. I'm not shocked by it simply because those names in the top 10 are household names, and those names have performed well over multiple years. I will say that they performed well over multiple years. Hurts, obviously, coming off a Super Bowl, his stock's going to be high, right? Like that, his stock's going to be very high. But those guys that are on that top 10 list have performed really well. So it doesn't completely shock me that Love is in that, 12 range. I think if he performs well this year, he'll be in that top 10 list without a doubt.
I think I have one really strong thought, and that is they don't believe he was hurt. If you believe he was hurt last year and affected his play, there's no way he's 12. Not after what he did the year before, the second half of the season, and in the playoffs. Because the answer would be, well, I still think he's the same. Maybe you drop a little. Maybe he drops to, 7 something, if you believe that he's hurt, right?
Well, I guess it's still based off what have you done for me lately. That's what that list is, besides Mahomes, because that's not Mahomes is excluded from what have you done for me lately on that list.
Yeah.
But I think
it's true of all of us. Our judgment of Jordan Love last season is based solely on how hurt was he. I mean, do you think and even when he came back, was he less? And if you think he was just hurt, then you probably haven't lost much, if any, of your belief on how talented he is.
No, I don't have any belief in how good he is. No, I have no disbelief.
So last year it's just hard to judge because he was hurt and he couldn't be himself. And we'll have another chance to see that this year, right? All right. 1977 Marquette, Jim Boylan and Giannis and LeBron James. Special half hour coming up next from the Bo Ellis Golf Tournament.
We had an earlier accident on 94 between Highway SS and Highway 83 that had both directions of the freeway shut down because of this. Now, it looks like they have reopened. It's going to take a while for everything to get worked out as far as those delays are concerned, but at least looks like everything has been reopened. Southbound on 41, still heavy from before Appleton Avenue down to Capitol Drive. Northbound's heavy from Mayfair Road all the way up to Hampton. On eastbound 94, a little closer into town, we do still have some delays just east of 84th Street through the stadium. The westbound side's backing up from about 25th Street all the way to Hawley Road. And then on southbound 43, most of your delays are going to be happening from Fond du Lac Avenue down through the Marquette all the way to the KK River crossing. Traffic is brought to you by James Imaging Systems, your local document imaging partner, dedicated to helping businesses do business better. Visit jamesimaging.com. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, mainly clear with a low of 68. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 87. Weather is brought to you by Infinity Exteriors, dedicated to saving our communities from unscrupulous contractors. Mother Nature can be unpredictable. Your roof, siding, and windows shouldn't be. We install peace of mind with transparency and quality guaranteed. Visit infinityexteriors.com. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
For your next night out, revel in the fusion of artistry and flavor with Sushi at St. Kate, offering guests an elevated experience where freshness and creativity converge in every bite. St. Kate the Arts Hotel introduces an exciting new sushi menu to its culinary repertoire. Indulge in the finest seafood, freshest ingredients, and expert craftsmanship for an inspired and delectable dining journey. Experience the art of sushi at St. Kate and learn more at stkatearts.com.
Windows. You hear all about everyone's windows and how theirs are the greatest. I'll tell you, our windows are the best as well. Hi, I'm Eric Brown, owner of Siding Unlimited, and I'm right there with you. We've taken the most trusted brand in windows, Pella, and paired them with such an outstanding business that we will deliver results to you at your home. Siding Unlimited has won Pella's prestigious 5-time Pella Platinum Premier National Contractor of the Year award. Siding Unlimited is the company to install your new windows.
Gabe Neitzel here. Catch Jen, Gabe, and Chewy mornings 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. It's time for the best 60 minutes of your life. This is the Homer Hour, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Here's Emmy Award winner, Homer.
Of the Homer Hour, because I've wanted to talk to Jim Boylan for like 5 years, and every year I tell him, I will get together, and I never did. Had you pretty much given up and just said, every year at the Bo Ellis tournament, he says it, but it never happens.
I just know that you're going to say, hey, we got to get together and do something. And I'm like, okay, yeah, great. Call me anytime, Homer. And, here I am again.
Here you are again. And again, it's the Bo Ellis Golf Tournament for the Nicole Ellis Foundation. But in talking with Bryan Bulaga, I said part of it to me is just to be around people who experienced a national championship. It's forever. And I've said, you just need one. You want more, but you're in the club forever.
Yeah. It's a great club to be in. It's coming up on 50 years in 27. So, I mean, the time just goes flying by. But I'll never forget, we were in the locker room after the game, and Coach McGuire said to us, he said, this moment right here is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger in your life as time goes on. And, it really has. And you just, you just have those memories and those connections with people. You accomplish something that a lot of people strive for. All the Marquette teams over the years, great teams with great players. And, it takes skill for sure. It takes talent for sure. And it takes some luck. And, in 1977, we had the ball bounce our way several times, and we came up with the plays we needed to make at the right time, and we were able to win that championship. And I can't wait for another Marquette team to win one, honestly. So cheering on Chaka and his team, and they've had some great teams over the last couple of seasons, and so hopefully that continues.
You want them to feel what you felt.
Exactly. I mean, it was an amazing feeling. The strange thing for me personally, when the buzzer sounded, there was kind of a numbness that came over me, like you can't believe it actually happened, and so you don't really know I didn't know really how to act. I was just like, the next thing I know, I saw Bo, and Bo hugged me, and then I was like, okay, this is it, man, and just something really special. And I grew up watching the UCLA teams with Kareem and Bill Walton, and watching them dominate and watching those Final Fours, and just imagining what it would be like. And there we were, and with Al's last season, it was you felt special in the sense that you felt like basketball was going to give something back to Al McGuire for all that he had done for the sport, and it happened, and it's still to this day I have a hard time kind of articulating how that feeling was.
I went back and watched the game because I remember parts of it, but like you had a huge lead, and then North Carolina goes on like an 18-4 run early in the second half, and it's gone.
Yeah, they came out. I mean, right out of the second half, and we kind of controlled the tempo in the first half. We were executing. We were playing our game, and then they came out in the second half, and they started to play their game, which was a higher pace. With Phil Ford and Michael Corrin and Walter Davis. I mean, they had an amazing team. When I look at the results and I say we won the NCAA championship, which is amazing, but we beat North Carolina.
But I know why you beat North Carolina. You know the reason.
I don't know. Why?
Because there was a player on the team who I believe, now Tony Smith, who I work with, says I make stuff up, so I've always said this, who could have gone probably anywhere in the country. He went to Assumption College in Worcester, Mass., which, by the way, was where my uncle, Dr. Mike True, taught for about 30 years. I'm the only one who knew how to say Worcester, because no one else did. And I've always said you went there because there was a member of your family, I couldn't remember who, was sick. Yeah. Otherwise, you could have gone literally to any school in the country. Tony Smith, I hope you're listening. Is that story accurate?
That is 100% accurate. My mom I was being recruited. My visits were to Kentucky and Notre Dame and Maryland and Virginia and schools like that. And my older brother, Michael, played at Assumption. So I had been going up to Assumption for the 4 years that he was there. I was just a companion to his girlfriend who used to drive up from Jersey City, and she's like, I don't want to drive alone. Come with me. And I'd be like, okay. So anyway, so I was extremely comfortable. Joe O'Brien, who went on to be the executive director of the Basketball Hall of Fame for over 20 years, I believe, was the coach, and he was a great coach, and they played an up-tempo game, and I went. So I was struggling with, my mom was really sick, and I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know where I wanted to go, and I wasn't quite sure about things, and so I just said, you know what, I'm comfortable at Assumption. I'm a basketball player. I've seen Joe O'Brien, the coach at Assumption, make my brother into the NCAA Division II Player of the Year.
All right, so you decided to go there, but you were there 2 years. After 1 year, how was your mom? And then I'm assuming you could have gone to many places. I know coaches who recruited you. They're still, ain't no way that guy's staying at Assumption College. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, back then it was more of a hands-off thing back then. They didn't really, it's not like today where, guys are constantly looking to poach people from other teams. But after my first year, we had a great year. We finished third in the country, went to the Final Four, and lost in the semis. Won the consolation game, which they used to have way back when, and we did the exact same thing the next year. So 2 years in a row, we made the Final Four.
You never thought of leaving after a year, or you did?
It was in the back of my head. But then after my second year, I was like, I really need to test myself a little bit more. And so I started sending out feelers to teams that had recruited me, like
North Carolina.
And
this is how you won the national chair. Dean Smith won it because Dean Smith had a rule that he would not ever recruit a transfer, other than someone said Bob McAdoo. But I thought, what is his problem? This wasn't a guy going to transfer into school. He went to the school because his mom was sick. Now, I'm incapable of comprehending that Dean Smith wouldn't have made an exception for that. I don't know how much he really wanted you, but if Jim Boylan's on North Carolina and not on Marquette, Marquette does not win the national championship, and if he had offered you a scholarship, I believe that you would have gone to North Carolina. But again, Tony Smith would say I'm making that up. So now we find out.
That North Carolina was my first choice. That's where I wanted to go, and Joe O'Brien, God bless him, he's passed away now. He called Dean Smith. He was my coach at Assumption. He called Dean Smith and said, "Hey, Jimmy wants to transfer. He wants, he really likes North Carolina. And they said, let's think about it." And then he came back a few days later and said what you just said about not taking transfers. And his first line to Coach O'Brien was, "You know who you should call? You should call Al McGuire. He loves to take transfers." And that's kind of how that ball got rolling. And not 2 weeks later, I was heading to Milwaukee.
And my other great, so Tony Smith, if you're listening, the stories I've told are accurate. Now, this one I'm not sure. Because you had been coming in as a transfer, Hank Raymond, who I believe took care of all the academics in terms of what players needed, he signed you up for like 28 credit hours your first semester. Now, I'm not sure, for people who don't know, 15 was normal. 18 is if they found an easy class for you, then you could get ahead. But I think the number that you had was significantly above 15 and 18.
It was crazy. I walked into the registration at the old gym where they used to have it, and as soon as I walked in, Hank was right there. He was on me like white on rice. I got your schedule. I got it all mapped out for you. This is what you're going to do. And I was new. I didn't know anything, so I was just okay. Okay, great. And I think I had 24 credits that semester.
It's not possible to take 24 credits.
I know. So then the next semester, when I went to register, I eased my way into the old gym, and I peeked around the corner, and I saw Hank standing there. I went in the other direction, and I said, no, I'll take care of this myself.
All right, to the championship game. The game was won at the free throw line. Late in the game, you had, and people don't realize, there was no 10 fouls in automatic two. There were 8 1-and-1s. And the only person who missed a free throw was Bernard Toon. He missed the front end. There would have been a technical or something. But either way, the other 7 1-and-1s, the Marquette Warriors hit 14 of 14, both ends of 7 1-and-1s. That's why you won the game. Accurate?
Accurate. I believe we were second in the country that year in free throw percentage. I shot 94, but I didn't shoot like a high volume. Butch Lee shot almost 300 or 250, somewhere around there, and Butch shot 86%. So Bo could make free throws, and Bernard could make free throws, and Gary Rosenberger could make free throws. And so, yeah, I mean, we had a group of guys who could step to the line in a pressure situation and make, like you said, a 1-and-1. It was no 2 shots. It was 1-and-1. You missed the first one, you're out of luck, pal. So, yeah, I think that was a super important key for us in those tournament games.
Talking with Jim Boylan again, part of the 1977 championship team at Marquette. Also, I believe he's in the Hall of Fame as an interim NBA coach. I don't know how many have been interims for 2 different teams. I was with LeBron, and so we can talk about the NBA. But when I said I was talking to Jim Boylan, one of the Marquette fans, you got to talk to him about the fight that Al McGuire had with whoever it was in the earlier tournament game against Cincinnati. And I said, all right, I will. So.
Well, that was quite a game. First of all, kind of backstory of that a little bit. Maurice Lucas came to the game. Maurice was at the game. Now, he's playing for Portland at the time. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated as the enforcer. We're playing, and in the first half, we're not playing so well against Cincinnati. And there's a timeout. Next thing I know, Maurice is over in our huddle, and he's punching guys and shoving guys and like, come on, you guys, what's going on? So anyway, that was a little side story, which was fabulous. But Al, you were allowed to yell at Al. You could say whatever you want to him. He didn't really care. He'd go right back at you, so on and so on. He didn't like when you made defensive mistakes. Bernard Toon made 2 defensive mistakes in 3 minutes. Timeout. We get out to, we're in the huddle, and Al's yelling at him, and Bernard's yelling back, and this is, so now we get to halftime, and I think we're down 3 or 4 points, something like that. We go into the locker room, and we're kind of all sitting there waiting for Coach to come in. Finally, Coach comes in, and he's pacing back and forth, and I'm like, oh boy, this something's going to happen right here. And he spots Bernard sitting kind of in the corner, and he just goes after him. And they were exchanging pleasantries in the first half, and Al said, no one calls me this and no one calls me that. Next thing you know, got a little physical.
Who threw the first punch? Come on.
Coach threw the first punch, and then Bernard jumped up out of his seat and tackled Coach, and they went over a training table where you get your ankles taped and all that, and there was a curtain separated the shower. The 2 of them rolled over that. Next thing you know, Rick Majerus finally wrestles Bernard away from Al because they're they're on top of each other. And takes him out of the locker room. But the crazy thing was one of those arenas where you went right through the rotunda to get to your locker room. So when the door burst open, all the fans were lined up getting their hot dogs at halftime and their sodas. And next thing you know, you hear this door just explodes and Rick and Bernard go out. And the fans all turn around and look. And they're looking like they're wide-eyed. And next thing you know, the door closes and, all hell breaks loose. We go out in the second half. We play a great second half. We beat Cincinnati. First game of the championship season. Game's over. We come back in. Media comes in. What did Coach say at halftime? And even back then, when you can get away with a lot of stuff, you can't get away with these days as far as coach-player relationships. I said, you may want to talk to Coach about that one. And so I just let that one go.
Wow, he told me this would be good, and he was correct. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll get to more Marquette, because it's been enough years where I need to ask you, just explain Al McGuire to people, because to me it's almost like Vince Lombardi. There are a lot of people around now have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long time, and there are people I know, younger people, Vince Lombardi, who, what? They don't know the essence of him, as they may not know the essence of Al McGuire, and that will be next.
You really want a summer of entertainment?
My job to win a World Series is my job to provide a summer of entertainment.
Be careful what you wish for.
Struck him out looking. Ball game over. It's a grand slam. Dives. He caught it. Struck him out looking. Oh, my goodness. Christian Yelich. Mizorowski. Sal Freeling. Trevor McGill.
Everything Brew Crew lives right here. 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Eat up, buddy. It's almost time for school.
You take charge of your home. You take charge of your work. Don't forget to take charge of your gut health too with Nature Made Probiotics. Nature Made has clinically studied probiotics that work with your digestive tract's natural bacteria, so you won't miss a beat in your daily routine. Find us in the vitamin aisle. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Hey, that's the spirit. Right now, we're celebrating free with a free STP oil filter when you buy 5 quarts of oil and free Duralast brake pads when you buy 2 rotors. Like always, free battery testing, charging, and recycling at every store. Celebrate free at AutoZone now through July 28th.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get ready for Germanfest, carnival style. Sink your teeth into Spanferkel, cheer on the tiny racers at the Dachshund Derby, and dance the night away with Vox Club, Juhe aus Tirol, and top bands from around the country. Don't miss the colorful parade, and on Saturday night, wear your best costume for the masquerade ball at the Miller Stage. Eat, drink, schunkel, and make it your tradition at Germanfest. For more information and online tickets, visit germanfest.com.
This is the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Every job is done one shovel at a time. No one wants to hear a grown man whine. And I like
Still half hour of the Homer Hour, because I promised to Jim Boylan, one-time interim coach for the Milwaukee Bucks, one-time interim coach for the Chicago Bulls, an assistant with Cleveland when LeBron won his championship. I think it was 2016. And for years I said, we'll do this. I never did. And now I get a chance, so I'm thankful you can do it and thankful they found a half hour. Give 60 seconds on Al McGuire to try to explain to people. Because I'm sure when that occurred in that locker room, people would have thought the players are going, this is the end of it. And I'm sure the players thought, well, one more story.
Yeah, well, Coach was a unique character, first of all. I tell people all the time, I left practice almost every single day, MFing that guy, and because he would drive you nuts. I mean, he would drive you nuts. He'd push you and prod you, and he was a New York wise guy. He had a lot of wisecracks, but I grew up in Jersey City, New Jersey, and I knew 10 guys like Al McGuire. Tough, honest, intelligent, and Al was such a showman that people, I think, kind of lost what a great coach he was. he was.
Well, I have a theory. I say he's the greatest defensive coach in the history of the state. Dick Bennett gets a lot of credit and deserves it, Paul. But people don't know unless you were around. That was Marquette. It seems weird given how crazy he was, but he was a defensive guy, right?
100% defensive guy, and that's the way you practice.
You were second in the country, I believe, the year they won the title in points given up.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we played a slower game. People can argue that and say we played a slower game, but when you played against an Al McGuire team, you knew that points were going to be tough, rebounds were going to be tough, and that you were going to face a team that was cohesive. A lot of people would look at Marquette and say, Al is this bigger-than-life coach, kind of a ringmaster. But I always would tell people, we with the uniforms, the crazy uniforms, and Al's flamboyant quotes and things that he would say to the media, we seemed like a very loose group of players and a really loose kind of team. But we were the most disciplined team in the country. We were disciplined on offense, and we were disciplined on defense. Now, surrounding us was a circus, but when we were on the court and he was kind of orchestrating us, it was business, and it was we do it this way, and then we do it this way all the time. We show up a certain way, we bring a certain attitude, and people would kind of look at us and think, they're just kind of a fly-by-night kind of group of guys. They're undisciplined, and they're all inner-city kids and this and that. And that was so far from the truth. We were the most disciplined team in the country.
Talking with Jim Boylan, again, part of the 1977 Marquette Championship team. It's the Bo Ellis Golf Tournament. They do it every year for the Nicole Ellis Foundation. And this would be year 7 in which I said, I got to talk to you, Jim. We're going to do something on the show. This is the first time it has occurred. Everybody wondering about Giannis and is he going to stay with the Bucks? And you've spent a lot of time with great players. And I don't know how much interaction you ever had with Giannis, but I can't think of anybody better to ask just about the dynamics of the NBA now versus all the different roles that you had.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. I spent 4 years in Cleveland with LeBron James, which was an amazing experience for me because that guy. I coached in the NBA for 25 years. For 21 of those years. Other than the 4 years I spent with LeBron, every single team that I coached, we were always looking for a leader. We were always looking for the best player to take over the team.
Seriously?
Yeah. We're always looking for the best player to take over the team and who can lead our team, who can be the guy to set the tempo. And that guy came in. He was the first one in the gym every day. He was the last one to leave. Days off? No.
What's he practicing?
He just taking care of his body, lifting weights, getting up shots, and he just set the tempo for everybody. And I haven't spent time with Giannis, but, in today's NBA, it seems to me that putting together a team has kind of gone through some changes. I'm looking at OKC this year, and I'm looking at Indiana this year, and I'm seeing how you obviously you need star players, but I think you can also win with a whole bunch of guys who are committed and play both sides of the court. So you're committed on offense, you're committed on defense, and if you have enough guys like that on your team, then you have a chance to contend. And I think OKC proved that this year, and I think Indiana proved that this year. So everything that I've read and seen about Giannis is that he loves Milwaukee, and so I anticipate if I'm the Bucks, I don't want to part with that talent because they're few and far between. So you're going to trade him somewhere? What are you going to get? And I think that it's, then it becomes a responsibility of the organization to do the best job that they can to put the players around him that can make him, even greater than he already is. And so you need guys who can shoot the ball, and you need guys who can defend. And if you have those two things, I think you got a good chance, especially with a guy like him, who can dominate a game. And I've seen LeBron dominate games. And, it's different than football. It's different than a lot of other sports. If you have one superstar player, which he is.
What does dominate the game mean to you? Or what does a player have to do?
You can give him the ball in the fourth quarter, and you're down 6 with 8 minutes to go, and give him the ball every time, and he makes the right play. Whether he's, he's
not necessarily going to score.
Not necessarily score. He's going to make the right play every time, and then that's why you need the surrounding players who can do the things. Giannis obviously is aggressive going to the hole, so you need to have guys around him that can knock down shots. You draw the defense in, you kick it out, and guys make shots. And when the Bucks won the championship, that's what they did. They had him in the middle, kind of going to work and, kicking it out to Lopez and the other guys, Middleton and people like that, and they're making shots. And I watched from afar, but I was so excited for the city of Milwaukee and watching the fans and the enjoyment they got out of that. That was a sweet moment. Even though I wasn't involved with the team, I still loved it.
So you did everything. You were a head coach, you were an interim coach. What was the best part of the NBA? I was going to say, like, you're like Forrest Gump. You were everywhere.
I think the best part of the NBA is, I was in the league for 25 years, and I can honestly say that there are guys who have bad raps. People think a certain way about someone. And I only had, and I won't say who it is because that would be wrong of me. I only had one guy. One guy in my 25 years that I thought, man, this guy's really, a terrible person. One guy. The other guys, they're all young kids. They're they have nothing, and then suddenly they have everything. And then you want them to be absolutely perfect. Wow. And that doesn't work that way.
Well, we've run out of time. And I'm glad because you said you had a story about me, but we've run out of time. You'll have to wait till next year, which could be another 7 years. Jim Boylan, you've been everywhere and champions forever. You're in the club.
That's right.
Thanks for the time.
All right. Thank you.
Jim Boylan, back to ESPN National next.
Make sure, do it right.